Hello Phoenix Point backers, and welcome to another round of questions from the Mailbag. So let's start with number 1. When will the next content be released, and will it be possible to play another faction too? So we haven't set a date for the next release. We're working on lots of planning at the moment, and what we can say is that there will be a lot of new stuff in the next release, and I can reveal to you that there will in fact be Phoenix soldiers in the next release, the Assault, the Sniper and the Heavy, and also their vehicle, the Scarab. And we are also working on 2 new environment sets, which is actually the Phoenix bases and the Disciples of Anu havens. So question number 2. XCOM Apocalypse had some very complex reputation and production market mechanics working in the background that varied how factions interacted and how available and expensive items were in each game, which was great to add some variation. Will Phoenix Point work in a similar way? So the answer to this is yes and no. To explain a bit more, so the economy in Phoenix Point is very important, but it's not a monetary based economy because the whole economic system of the world has collapsed. What you will find is that many havens are very scarce in certain resources, and they will be willing to exchange a lot of things in order to get those scarce resources. So there will be basically a barter system up there, but also havens will be manufacturing and producing stuff. And you can then interact with this in many ways, not just economically, but also by stealing it and also by allying with factions, which allows you to exchange technology, goods and research. So there's a lot of detail there, and indeed, although Apocalypse was an inspiration from this, Phoenix Point is definitely doing some things which are quite different. Question number 3. How will the character customization be reflected in the character portrait that we have seen in the builds? At the moment, what we have in the builds is fairly placeholders, so there will be a full character customization system where you can alter their hair, facial features and so on of your character, and that will be rendered as an image for the little icon that sits down in the tactical screen. Will there be super weapons like nukes or heavy bombardment support? So the short answer to that is no. The reason is that in the world of Phoenix Point, although there is high technology, it is extremely scarce and extremely difficult to actually launch these devices. Initially there's no GPS system either. Even though you have that technology and it may be theoretically possible to build it, is not necessarily going to help you very much. But we will see. Next question. How much flexibility is available in Tactical Approach? Can players attempt very different strategies in different playthroughs? Absolutely, this is a core principle of the game, and one of the key strategies that you have to take into account at the start of the game is how you're going to relate to the different factions in the game. And you will have to choose probably one of the 3 faction solutions to the alien menace, and obviously next time you play through, you might choose a different faction to try and choose their solution. There is also a special Phoenix solution to the alien menace. And the other difference that you can do is how you approach the general progression in the game. So you have to find a solution to the alien menace. You need resources, and you can get them in 3 different ways. You can build them, you can steal them, you can ally with factions. So, next question. Depending on faction affiliations, is it possible to receive more faction-specific units, upgrades or weapons? Yes, this is absolutely correct. So if you actually ally with a faction, then you'll receive more potential recruits from that faction. It's a very straightforward system. Similarly, if you save a haven from alien assault, this can also give the possibility of recruiting a soldier from that haven, and if it belongs to a faction, it will have the faction-specific technology and possibly classes that come with that faction. What I've always liked in all XCOM UFO series was the possibility to research. What can we expect from the tech tree of Phoenix Point? Will it be simplified, like in my opinion XCOM 1, or more complex like the original UFO Enemy Unknown? So yes, it will be a bit more like the original UFO Any Men Known, and in fact it will be even bigger than that in many ways, because each faction also has their research tree, and although you don't have direct access to their research tree at the beginning of the game, you will have opportunities to get access to their research either through alliance or stealing their technology. You can send your soldiers into a research lab if you find one, which is in a faction haven. And if you successfully infiltrate that lab, you can actually steal some of their technology and use it for your own purposes. So it is more complex for sure, probably than even the original UFO Any Men Known. Next question. In XCOM UFO Defense, late game was broken by imbalanced tech. But in my opinion, crazy overpowered things had a good effect on game atmosphere. Will there be game-changing tech like blaster bombs or awesomely terrifying enemies like chrysalids? The short answer is yes, there will be. We can't reveal too much about it, but certainly one of the terrifying enemies that we have revealed is the behemoth, which is a giant sort of massive walking creature that can destroy havens just by stomping on them. And talking of behemoths, the next question says, I am curious as to how we can tackle something as massive as the behemoths that are roaming the lands. Will there be any specialized weaponry, as I doubt a few grenades and machine guns will stop them? So yes, you will have to research the specialized weaponry, and it will take the form of a special canister of virus and poison that you have to inject into the behemoth creature. And in order to do this, you will have to land a squad on top of the behemoth, find the weak point, and install the equipment, let it drill into the carapace of the behemoth, and escape, and then you'll be able to deal with it. So basically you're fighting a tactical mission on the back of this giant creature. Next question. What type of post-launch support can the community expect? Example, paid expansions and free content updates and DLC. So we have at least 2 DLCs planned right now, and they will be launched obviously after the release of the game, and they will come in conjunction with some free updates, which we haven't decided what they will be yet. And if it goes well, then yes, we will continue releasing some more DLC. Next question. What sets this apart from all the other tactical turn-based games out now? So this is really a really big question. And I think probably the biggest thing that sets it apart right now is the real sense of immersion in a world that we're simulating many levels of aspects, not just the tactical battles, but also how the strategic part of the game works, the resource management, the research, the relationships with the factions, the exploration, the economics of it. So it's a much more interactive and strategic approach to a foundation of a tactical game. And we've also got some really interesting, unique aspects to the game, like the alien mutation system, which can really generate hundreds and hundreds of variations of enemies for you to fight. Next question. Will there be freedom on what we can equip our soldiers with, regardless of class? Like in XCOM, you could arm someone with a rifle or a cannon or any other specialized piece of equipment. So yes, you do have that freedom, but if your soldier is not trained to use it, then you will suffer some kind of penalties for actually using it. Each of the soldier classes actually represents a set of training with certain types of equipment and tactics. So obviously a sniper rifle is trained in using sniper rifles, and he will be proficient in them, but he will not be proficient in using heavy machine gun, for example. He can do it, and you can equip him with this stuff. But the real interesting thing here is that the Phoenix Point soldiers are not restricted to one class. You can select to specialize in another class. You could have a sniper heavy, which the sniper can use the machine gun, and he can use the sniper rifle proficiently, and he can use the heavy's armor and jump jetpack, and he can use the jump jet to jump onto a high point and then use his sniper rifle. So there's some interesting synergies there, and I think you will find it very interesting. Next question. Will Phoenix Point have unique story-driven missions, unique alien bases, faction bases to invade or retain that are significant to gameplay, and or game-changing tech, pivotal points in the campaign similar to plasma guns and blaster launcher in the original XCOM UFO Defense? So the short answer is yes, but we cannot reveal much about that yet. There will be very specific key missions which will be turning points in the story or involve a major piece of technological advance or some interesting solution to a part of the puzzle of the alien problem. So yes, there will be. Next question. In the end game, I guess that means in the final release, will there be any way to prioritize overwatch or return fire, i.e. direction of enemy, or for return fire distance of enemy or chance to hit percentage? So it's about the whole interesting question of overwatch. And overwatch in Phoenix Point works differently to other games in the fact that range is a very much more important factor. So we are actually going to introduce a new system for Overwatch which we call Directed Overwatch, and this will allow you to set a direction, a cone of trigger effect, and a range at which the Overwatch will be triggered, and this will give you actually a lot more control over how Overwatch is deployed. So we're nearly at the end, so the penultimate question. Will there be an endless mode where I can continue even after finishing whatever goal is needed to finish the game? Or will the replayability be designed in such a way every new game will be a bit different research trees, different factions or alien types every game? So one thing that will be different every time we play it, I mean, there's a lot of random setup and how the world is created, so you can get some very dramatically different settings, situations at the start of the game, which faction you encounter first, and also because of the alien mutation system, you'll get some quite dramatically different alien types from one play to the next, some of which you may not see from one game to the other. But as for the endless mode situation, this is quite interesting. We hadn't considered it. It's theoretically possible, so we will see. And the final question. Will the enemies be moving about while you are searching for them? In the new XCOM, they only move after you find them, and then they get a free move. Put a sniper on a building and I lost my entire squad to a sudden reaction fire in that game. So yes, they do move about while you're searching for them, and if they find you, then they will start alerting their comrades as well to try and find you and hunt you down. So yes, they are interacting and moving around, and they've got their own agenda while they're doing that. Often you'll find that aliens are trying to destroy certain things in the mission that might be valuable to you, like crates or vital parts of a haven functioning, like the energy production or the food production and so on. So they will be doing stuff until you interrupt them, and that is how they work. So it won't in fact work, well, like there'll be no pod system like in the new Firaxis XCOMs, for example. So that concludes the question and answer session for now. Thank you for listening.